Daniel, a 25-year-old college graduate in Boston, Massachusetts, is moving into a new apartment to start his first job. The building is old but cheap, with a long history dating back to the 1800s. On his first night, he notices something peculiar, a door at the end of the hallway with a rusted number plate, 13, even though the landlord said there were only 12 apartments in the building. Curious, Daniel tries the knob, but the door is locked. He shrugs it off as an old storage room and heads back to his unit. That night, Daniel is awoken by a soft tapping sound. At first, he thinks it's coming from his window, but when he listens closely, it's clear the sound is coming from the hallway. Against his better judgment, he opens his door and peers out. The hallway is dimly lit, and the tapping is louder, coming from behind door 13. Something compels him to approach the door. As he gets closer, the tapping stops, replaced by a faint, muffled voice. "Help me." Panicked but unable to resist, Daniel tries the knob again. This time, it turns. The door creaks open to reveal a room bathed in pale, flickering light. There's no furniture, just four walls covered in peeling wallpaper. In the center of the room is an old, wooden chair facing away from him. He steps inside, calling out, "Hello? Is someone here?" But the moment he crosses the threshold, the door slams shut behind him. Daniel turns to leave, but there's no doorknob on the inside. His phone has no signal, and every attempt to open the door fails. As panic sets in, he notices the chair slowly turning to face him. Sitting in it is a man with hollow eyes, his mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. The man speaks, his voice distorted and echoing. "I was the last one. Now it's your turn." Before Daniel can react, the walls begin to close in, and the room changes. The peeling wallpaper is replaced with photos of him. They show moments from his life, some he doesn't even remember, as if someone had been watching him for years. The man stands and points to one of the photographs, a picture of Daniel standing outside door 13 earlier that day. "You chose to open it. Now you'll never leave." Samantha, a 17-year-old high school senior from Seattle, is getting ready for prom night. Her parents had recently gifted her a vintage mirror for her bedroom, and she loves the way it adds an antique charm to her space. While trying on her dress, Samantha notices something odd in the mirror. For a split second, her reflection doesn't match her movements. She laughs it off as stress and excitement, but something about the mirror feels wrong. Later that evening, as Samantha applies her makeup, she hears a faint tapping sound coming from the mirror. She leans in, inspecting it closely, and notices faint smudges on the glass, like fingerprints from the inside. As she wipes the mirror, her reflection smiles back at her, even though she's not smiling. She jumps back, and her reflection instantly returns to normal. Brushing it off as a trick of the light, she continues getting ready. When her friends arrive to pick her up, Samantha takes one last look in the mirror. Her reflection is there, but it doesn't move. Instead, it stares at her with unblinking eyes. As she walks away, the reflection doesn't follow, it stays, watching her leave the room. prom, Samantha can't shake the feeling of being watched. When she looks at her phone's selfie camera, she notices her reflection behaving oddly again, smiling when she isn't. Panicking, she leaves the venue and returns home. Back in her room, the mirror is cracked, and a faint outline of a shadowy figure can be seen within. As she steps closer, the figure lunges forward, its hand pressing against the glass from the inside. Samantha tries to run, but the reflection pulls her into the mirror. The glass ripples like water, and she vanishes. Moments later, her reflection calmly steps out of the mirror, brushing off its dress. It looks around the room and whispers, "Much better." The next morning, Samantha's parents find her room empty, but the mirror looks pristine. Her reflection smiles back at them, perfectly normal, until they leave the room. The Morris family purchased an old Victorian house in Charleston, South Carolina, known as Whispering Hall. While the mansion was beautiful, it carried an eerie atmosphere. Soon after moving in, strange events began to unfold. Soft whispers echoed through the halls, and shadows seemed to move on their own. One night, 16-year-old Lily noticed her shadow moving differently than her own actions. Her parents dismissed her concerns, but they, too, started feeling a chilling presence. In the attic, an antique mirror seemed to radiate unease, accompanied by faint footsteps. One evening, the whispers grew louder, and shadows merged into a dark figure at the end of the hallway. A booming voice echoed through the house, "You don't belong here." Moments later, the attic mirror shattered, and the broken shards spelled, "Leave now." Terrified, the Morris family left the house the next morning. As they drove away, they glanced back to see a shadow in the window, silently watching them. Whispering Hall remains abandoned, and locals claim to hear faint voices warning visitors to stay away.